All right, so the hands-on's right in front of you. And you were concerned about return on, and I can spell this, investment. So you were, what were you doing? Justifying the cost of buying some Ethernet switches. Which one of those, the cost of the Ethernet switches, was that a return or an investment? All right, so investment is, this is the cost that we incur. All right, so what's the return then? If we're speaking in vague terms, and a lot of you probably did something like this, we would just talk about benefits gained. All right, but what we really need here is, we would say costs saved. This is normally what we would get out of a system development project. Oh, hi. Or, yeah. So what do any of you all have in terms of the benefits? You guys in the peanut gallery interested in telling me? What did you have for benefits or costs saved? Yeah, like what did you say was your return? What did you get back from upgrading? You made something up, but what was the number representing? That's all right. Okay, that would be sort of here. End user, and that is okay. Let me just talk briefly here. If we're going to say end user satisfaction as being sort of the benefit gained, what we need to do, those are called intangible. Intangible. So if you only have intangible benefits, normally you're going to need to compare basically two options. Okay? So you're going to say, like, you know, option A costs, I don't know, $10,000. Users are frowny face. This would make a great PowerPoint slide, right? You're not going to put frowny face on your slide, though. So A costs, and then you put B costs 20,000. Then your users are happy. And then the idea here is we're going to put this to our managers and say, you know, what do you pick? And so if we were just talking about not upgrading, make sure you quantify as much as possible. Not upgrading, maintenance costs, or whatever. Put X. Are we good here? So if we don't upgrade our network, it's still going to cost us some amount of money to maintain it. You know, you got to do stuff. Add users, update stuff, change ports, everything else. If we upgrade, and now our maintenance costs is something else, so it's Y. This would be like up here where we have to justify why we're going to spend more money. If this ends up going down, you're probably lying, but if it does end up going down, you can then justify that as a benefit. You guys seeing that there? Okay. So watch what you're doing. A nice way to justify a network is to talk about the response time. Okay, so we can say the current is, and we could just say, oh, let's say it is 3 seconds. The new is going to be, I don't know, let's say 1.5 seconds. Okay, does that seem like a reasonable, like where you'd quantify it? So I might say, you know, the current users, it takes them 3 seconds to like enter a web URL and look at the page. If we upgrade, it would take down that to 1.5 seconds. Then if I take this 1.5 seconds per query savings, and then I times it by the number of queries, let's say per hour. Okay, so how many times do people use this thing an hour? And we have that in our logs, right? How many times do people access basic websites? And so we might end up with, you know, I don't know, 20,000. And then, I don't know, then we multiply that by an average hourly rate. So what do our people get paid per hour? I don't know, let's say it's $10 an hour. That's not exactly right. But anyway, you just come up with a number. Y'all are good enough at this, right? It's not hourly rate. This is the, this would be the 1.5 seconds. You'd have to get a cost per 1.5 seconds, and then that would be your savings. Average. Anyway. I'm not going to write it. Yeah, it's more productive hours. Yeah. That's the same idea here. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So just like she just said, it would be like how much extra work time do we get? And by the way, this also means if we have attrition, we never fire these people, right? So if we save enough work time, eventually you don't need as much people for the same amount of work. We'll just put, we're going to handle, that's right, we're going to handle extra customers or whatever we're going to do. So we're going to make more money, okay? But that's how we justify it. So the return is the cost saved from the new system. So just remember that when you're doing your internal rate of return. It's far better to quantify it if you can. Sometimes you're stuck. Now, if I go... Yeah, if they say, yeah. If you just say better, like you put your smiley face and your frowny face, then they'll, yeah, they will say, like, why? What makes it better? And then you will end up, if it's that kind of manager, they're going to end up with this anyway. So you might as well have done it up front. I don't want to scare you about this kind of stuff. This is, you know, pretty up there in management of networking, and, you know, you all just coming out probably aren't going to see this or have to justify that in this way. For all the jobs I've ever had, I've never had to do this. I've always been the thing of, you know, makes people happy, makes people sad, and then they're like, okay, and then they give it to you. So if they want to take it to a big extreme, you can do things like, so I might have my initial cost, and let's say I had a $25,000 cost, and then I would do like net benefit of year one, and let's say it was, I don't know, $5,000. Then year two, we get another 5,000. And let's just say this goes on. Well, now we can do quantitative analysis of this, right? So I can get, yeah, the net present value. I can do an internal rate of return. The simplest one is, of course, the payoff. Payoff. So how many years till you pay it off? Those are good. What? Yeah, break-even's a little iffy. Let me see. Where was my other thing I was going to just say? We just did payoff. Oh, over here, just this note here on the costs. These you can do what's called total cost of ownership, TCO, total cost of ownership. Because there's no return on total cost of ownership. You're just saying we want to make our users happy, and we're choosing between two different options. And then you got to quantify, how much maintenance and everything else. But that was sort of what I wanted you to shoot for on this hands-on. And like every other hands-on, I didn't expect you to necessarily know up front what you wanted to do. So